All right, hello workshop participants, whoever came the other day to our workshop activity. Sorry that you guys couldn't spray paint, but what I've been doing here early in the morning is preparing a couple gifts for some of your family and staff, so to speak, right there at the Centro. So I did 4 different pieces with spray paint, real simple. Originally what I was gonna ask everybody to do is just a 2-color gradient, real simple. And so I went with a dark purple into a cobalt blue. And in graffiti art, it's so important to get a fill-in that's a nice gradient from almost airbrush quality soft. Then we're gonna put a stencil over that once it dried. Here is an example of kind of a sunburst that I'm working on for a piece that's gonna have a Sacred Heart, but I taped off the outsides only so that I can give a nice little border at the end with black. And that way I can kind of cut off the area and can make a nice little haze. This one, again, I wanted to do gradations, and it would have been very easy for me to demonstrate in the next video where I would tape everything off and spray it with 2 colors. Real simple. And finally, right here is one drying, and we're gonna reveal that in the last video. Alright, so on this canvas, I'm going to demonstrate how I'm going to tape this up. Now, in between the colors, hopefully it's dried enough. That's another thing, is once I spray paint, it's important to put a clear coat over it so that it stays and adheres. So if you use tape, usually you're going to have to use painter's tape because it's not that sticky. And I'm going to do an opposite, where I'm going to do the red on this side and the blue on that side. So basically, hold it like this. And we're going to cover up what we did. You want to do the whole thing because there's a little haze and you're just going to end up messing it up if you don't cover the whole thing. You don't have to press it down too hard, because again, you don't want to, unless you put a clear coat, you don't want to have it pull up when you bring it back off. So just slightly cover it like that. And we're going to do this one. Sound of unmasking has always freaked me out as a kid, but I'm okay with it. All right, so we can let's do this one too, because we're gonna do one stripe just to show you. So what we don't want to do is color the whole thing right now. So we're just gonna tape this area. All right. Now we get a red, and I've been using, usually we have different tips that we use. This one's called a New York Fat Cap, and it sprays a little fatter than usual. And then we have another tip, but I'm using actually the stock tip for it because it sprays good, and then we just go like this. So we always spray a little bit up in the air just to get the valve going, and then we spray like this. So when we spray, we just don't spray like, or else it would bleed out. You press it and unpress it, press it and unpress it. All right, that's kind of like halfway. Take our cobalt blue, and usually I should have done the blue first and then the red over that, because that's how you get that purple effect. When you do it red first and blue over, doesn't work well. Back and forth, and moving down at the same time. Because if I were to do it in the same area, it's gonna start to bleed and drip. We don't want that. So there. And I'll go back with that red so I can get that nice purple hue. And that's again a kind of illusion of having the red in small doses, kind of floating over and dissipating over the blue. So I have to come back now. See how fine that blue mist is? I don't want that on my red, so I go back and in an angle spray out like that. See, you get a nice gradation. The revealing part, because it shows how well you did a job in spraying it. And usually it's best to let it dry. Okay, so next step after doing something like this, I said this is a nice little aura of a background, and I'm gonna do a Sacred Heart. So I'm gonna go in with a dark red as follows. Gotta be careful not to drip too much, so I don't want to paint the areas I've already painted. So you need to progress all the way down. Try not to paint the areas twice, at least the first time, or else it'll start to drip. I know it doesn't look like dark red, but it is. And then I want to do spout. So I know I make this look easy, but that is because I'm using a lot of pressure to hold the tip and barely spray it in some areas. Or just barely press into it. If I were to press hard on it, yeah, it would all come out. But this finger has acquired quite a muscle, so I can barely press it and just get the right amount of paint in, like I'm doing right now. I'm barely pressing it, but enough for it to come out. So we're gonna let that dry for a minute. So then what I do is to shade, I don't just spray it like that. I tilt it to the side, and I do what is called a flare. So that means it's gonna flare out on one side, but it's gonna be cut on one side. tone. And now it's really gonna pop when we go in there with the red. Probably should have waited for it to dry. What I use to seal the painting, I'll use Krylon triple thick crystal clear glass.